Ian Paisley, there are an awful lot of small businesses in your constituency, partly in retail, partly in supply chain for manufacturing. What are you able to do for them now that you've moved to Westminster as their representative?
Well, there's a very successful economic profile in North Antrim, especially around the belt of Ballymena, with a number of businesses, as you say, both retail and manufacturing, and indeed some PLCs as well. So that gives me, I suppose, a very sound basis in Westminster argue to increase that profile in the area, and to see how the current government cuts and the current government policy is either affecting the delivery of growth for manufacturing and growth for retail. And to see it from a UK-wide perspective is incredibly interesting, because the profile of my constituency is quite similar to some of the constituencies in the south of England.
And how do you find that the engagement between Council and Assembly and Westminster is working to represent those businesses effectively?
Well, I think we have to have, first of all, a consistent policy. I think we have to have a can-do attitude, and politicians have to have a must-support attitude. We must support the can-do whim that's within business and ensure that business is able to succeed, ensure that our policies allow money to go into the pockets of ordinary individuals so as they can spend locally and they can deliver locally, and that we reduce taxation. Now, there's a number of ways that we've tried to do that. As you know, corporation tax is now there to be taken. That would certainly increase, hopefully, job opportunities, investment opportunities, and hopefully local spend. I also want to see a reduction in taxation policy. I mean, we have some crazy taxation policies which come down nationally. They have got to be changed, otherwise we will tax some businesses or red tape those businesses out of existence.
And looking at other issues that are in the gift of the Assembly, what about planning? How do you find that your constituents are dealing with that? How much are you involved in trying to help that process?
A lot of my time is spent in the planning process. It's far too cumbersome, it's far too bureaucratic. We aspire to have major planning applications dealt within 6 months. That isn't happening a lot of the time. That has to be delivered upon, that has to be looked at, and we have to say to the planning service, you're not the planning stopping service, you are the planning service. So let's get plans through and let's deliver. And at the moment, I mean, I'm sitting in one application which has been going for 9.5 years for a golf resort and hotel. That's disgraceful. It's an indictment on this society that's taken so long, not to get a yes, not to get a no, to get nothing. And I think the planning service need to now step up to the mark and start delivering.
And finally, looking at an issue which is actually now in your domain, is banking. Obviously that's covered by Westminster rather than locally, and we've seen Arlene Foster giving more details today about the growth fund through InvestNI, but that's really a response to a failure within the banking market. How do you see that evolving over the coming months and years?
Yeah, I think this is a critical question for the next couple of years. I am able to tell you, it's not, I suppose it's an exclusive for your news channel. The Select Committee for Northern Ireland, after it concludes in January its report on investigation into fuel smuggling and laundering, is going to next turn to its major issue, which will be banking and banking structures in Northern Ireland. Our banking structures are completely different to those in the rest of the United Kingdom, and the persons who suffer as a result of that are your members and are my constituents. That has got to be radically changed, and we'll be asking Mervyn King to come up with suggestions how we change it for the better and let our banks work for the people.
Ian Paisley, we will definitely be returning to this story. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.